whether we can expect more stimulus coming out of these big meetings ahead. What do you think?
Well, I think there is already some stimulus in the form of, actually getting the banks to lend more. I think that's already happening.
Okay.
But in terms of what the market has been expecting, and very much in the form of, for example, giving out cash for people to spend to boost the consumption, and such as interest rate cuts, we think that's probably too much to ask for. At least for the time being, there is no sign that the economy is not rebounding well. Why would policymakers be in a rush to deliver all this stimulus? It could be a waste of bullets in retrospect, so they probably would wait.
How DM economies have reopened, and obviously inflation is still stickier than we ever thought. How are they thinking that, and what lessons are they taking from that?
I think the problem is that exactly Chinese policymakers, when they are looking at the inflation in US and also in Europe, they seem to draw the conclusion that that's probably because they overstimulated the economy, especially by giving out all this cash for people to spend. And therefore, you probably see that as a bad lesson that China should learn from. And, as a result, we don't necessarily think Chinese policymakers will try to do the same thing, because for fear of inflation coming later on, not immediately, but later on, they could also be concerned that this could, boost a further inflationary pressure.
The property sector. And do you think, have you heard enough as far as policy support that it's a matter of time before this problem goes away?
I think the property sector is being helped tremendously as we speak.
Okay.
So, in the past 3 months, when I was here repeatedly, talking about the new 16 points and everything,
Yep.
we think on the supply side, the government is definitely doing more to help the funding for private developers. And we are now also seeing more measures coming through to the banking sector, supporting the lending to developers in the form of developer loans. Now, well, it's probably not an overstatement to say that lending to developers in the form of developer loans is not treated too much differently from lending to people in industries in manufacturing sector.
Yep.
If that is the case, then that probably implies that from a funding perspective, the trouble we saw in the liquidity crunch earlier on will probably be resolved soon, and people will probably regain the confidence in buying properties, new properties from developers in the next 12 months or so.